Hi there, listeners. We here at Brain Death would like to remind you that everything we say here is just our opinion, bro. There's no need to get your knickers in a twist over what comes out of our mouths. Brain Death also contains mature humor, adult themes, and a good deal of foul language. Listener discretion is definitely advised.
And welcome to Brain Death. This is your host, Edward Sebastian, recording this show with my two co-hosts who shall introduce themselves because they're grown-ass men whose jobs I refuse to do for them. So...
Well, we'll start with myself. My name is Josh. On FA, I go by the username on the back of Bullets rides my name, but that's an ungodly mouthful, so feel free to just call me Josh or Bullets, etc. And I will let Civil introduce himself, since he is definitely a grown-ass man himself.
Yeah, it seems that way. Hi, I'm Civil. And I think I don't need to say that much about me, other than that I'm a filthy foreigner, and I love porn.
Alright, tonight we actually have a special guest co-host. Is someone who is more familiar with the Bronies than I particularly care for her to be, but it is what it is. We have with us my sister Crystal. Introduce yourself.
As you said, I'm Crystal Cat 180 FA, but I just go by Crystal, or Chris, as you may hear Ed call me. And yes, I'm a My Little Pony fan, and I also do that anime shit that is so horribly hated by furries, because they do toon stuff, obviously.
Fantastic. Alright, so, I'm going to kind of break the mold from our other podcast. I want to open the podcast up with something off-topic, but that I still found pretty funny. This was linked to us, the Brain Death Cast, sometime earlier this week. I forget exactly when, but it, apparently on the whitehouse.gov page, you can create petitions for various things, and this one got passed across our desks, and I personally found it pretty hilarious. It is entitled, Regulate and Monitor the Furry Fandom. You guys remember this one?
Yeah, Civil found that one.
Yeah. I get around. Fun shit.
So, do either of you want to read it, or should I go ahead and read it?
You go ahead and read it, our fantastic host.
Right,
all right.
Better voice.
Alright, so, Regulate and Monitor the Furry Fandom. This was submitted by a guy who goes by the name JG. It is as follows. Dear President Obama, every year the furry fandom grows larger and larger. What started out as a group for people who appreciated anthropomorphic art has now grown into a group consisting of mostly zoophiles or people who fantasize about committing zoophilia. Because I know I just have the insatiable urge to fuck a dog right now.
Just to clarify, that was sarcasm, because someone will probably listen to this at some point and not get that.
Oh, we're listening to a podcast hosted by a dog fucker. I knew it! Continue.
Okay, just for the record, one of my friends from FA is in this podcast as well. He doesn't have recording equipment, so he couldn't be recorded, but he's in the comments, and so if we randomly burst out laughing at not jack shit, it's probably something
his fault.
said. Yeah, blame him.
Continuing, they also dress up in fursuits, quote unquote, costumes designed to resemble animals, and then they have massive orgies, spreading STDs and bacteria that grow in their sweat-soaked fur. These same people like to hang out in parks where children are at and hug those children.
With their filthy fuck suits.
Yes, they're filthy fuck suits. Okay, I'm not gonna lie. I do kind of have a problem with people who, like, openly post pictures of themselves fucking in fursuit. And then, like, right next to it in their gallery, they have pictures of themselves at the park, like, hugging children, and I'm just like...
In the same fucking suit.
Yeah, I'm just... That kind of bugs me, but...
It's Darwinism.
I was gonna say, that doesn't...
Hug the mascot. The smart kids will stay away from the giant Technicolor dog with a collar that looks suspicious.
It won't be long before these people will get tired of role-playing as animals. They will go for the real thing. One of these days, they will go for our pets. Please make being furry illegal before it gets any worse.
We should totally sign that petition, right?
Well, it has been. It has been sent. It is an actual petition that you can actually vote for.
Yes, it needs 100,000 signatures by June 6th of 2013. There's 46 people who have signed this, so...
We're not going to get there. But what if, can you imagine if it actually did? How amazing of a day that would be.
Yeah, it would be funny, but I think they just have to consider it, but they don't have to actually... Oh,
no, it wouldn't become a law, but it would still be on its way to becoming a law.
I would love to be a fly on the wall, like when that came across President Obama's desk. Dealing with all the budgetary issues and everything, and then just all of a sudden...
Ban fur faggotry. Before our children die.
Are you aware that people dress up in animal suits and have sex? This is wrong! It's like, yeah, I watch CSI. I've known about this for a while. I failed to see. Alright, so getting off of the subject of that petition. So, on to our actual topic of the night. It's a topic kind of close to my heart. It is something that everyone in this group is familiar with. Josh.
Yes.
What comes to your mind when I say the word brony?
I would love to say that, what comes to mind is just, your typical fan of a show or something like that. Like, I like the regular show. I like to watch it. I follow it. I wish that sort of image came to mind when I heard brony. But what comes to mind is an individual who is of an age clearly not the target of said show, who is probably in college, wearing glasses, has, a book sack over his shoulder that has a picture of Rainbow Dash or Twilight Sparkle or one of the other ponies on there, and then has one of those shirts that he bought at Hot Topic because he's a true hipster, and it says, this shirt just got 20% cooler, etc. And is basically a walking billboard for the show because he is obsessed with said show and has some sort of deep emotional connection to whatever character is depicted on his bag. That's what comes to mind, and that scares the shit out of me.
Josh, you forgot the fedora. Just because
Josh, what's really sad is you just described Crystal's ex-boyfriend, like, to a T.
Oh, God.
So, you're actually not too far off topic. See, when I think of the word brony, I think of one word, and I'm sure we can all say it together. On 3, 1, 2, 3.
Autism.
Fantastic. Yeah, and actually, as Wacky just brought up, majority of bronies actually started out as furries. A lot of the ones that I have met were in the fur fandom, and just kind of, when the show came out in 2010, they just migrated to it for whatever fucking reason. So the Bronies came around in like 2010, around the end of it, and they just bum rushed the fuck out of the internet, did they not?
They did. I didn't even have a strong presence on the internet at that time, and I noticed it. Over the course of like just 4 or 5 months, I noticed it.
They came out of fucking nowhere.
Yeah, I noticed it too. I just noticed one day there was like a pony picture. I was like, I don't remember seeing this before, and the next thing I know, there's 15 in my inbox, and I'm just cowering in fear.
Yeah, and that happened to me as well, because I used to watch a lot of people on Fur Affinity. And then 2010, 2011 came on, and like the further the show progressed, the more and more artists I noticed just switching. They just switched exclusively to pony art. And that really fucking bothered me, because I'm not gonna lie, I gave the show a shot. My biggest problem is when I watch a show, whether it be, you know, cable TV or an anime or, you know, My Little Pony, I don't give shows a learning curve. You know, I judge them based on what makes good television. And My Little Pony, it's good for what it is. I didn't care for it.
You know, I think Civil has some experience with this. I mean, I assume pretty much everyone here in this conversation, including the silent ones, have or may still watch My Little Pony at times. But I may be the only one here that I really haven't. I could, just after I saw the way the fandom exploded around it, I just couldn't watch it. It could be an awesome show. Damn, this show could be as good as fucking Supernatural for all I care, and
It's not.
It's
Not even close.
and I couldn't watch it.
I'm a fan, but sorry. I'm a fan, but I can definitely say after watching both the shows, it's not. Don't even worry about it.
No, like Ed already said, it's good for what it is. I mean, in the end, it's just a 20-minute long commercial to sell plastic figures and stuff. But the main thing that it did better than its predecessors was it took its audience not for what they are, little girls, but it tried to do something more with it. But I mean, that doesn't make it a mega awesome show or something like that. It's a good show for what it is, but you shouldn't over-interpret it. That's the point, because people say, oh yeah, it's love and tolerance. That's not even in the show. It's something they made up back on 4chan when it got popular to counter-troll all the other people that trolled, oh, you're watching a little kid show, blah, blah, blah.
Well, fuck you, love intolerance. I'm gonna love and tolerate the shit out of you.
Right. It has nothing to do with the show. I mean, okay, it tries to convey certain values, like every kid's show should, or at least.
Well, you see, the thing about it is I understand that it probably has some content that appeals to older people, like a lot of cartoons do. I saw a clip on YouTube, and at first I didn't think it was from the show, but the animation was too much like the show for it to have been fan-made. It was, I think it was Applejack? I don't remember which one it was. I don't really know them that well. But it was, this pony was like beating the living shit out of some monster, and it was pretty intense for like, you know, a little kid's show. But at the same time, I mean, there's some pretty adult shit in the regular show if you sit there and watch it. And there has always been some fairly adult humor in kids' shows from their inception. You go back and you watch stuff like Johnny Bravo or the Angry Beavers.
Dude, Animaniacs, the infamous fingerprints joke.
Yeah.
I mean, come on.
There's always been some adult humor. There has always been stuff in cartoons that would appeal to people of an older demographic, because the people that write those fucking shows are adults themselves, for one, and also they know that their audience isn't just the kid, it's the parent sitting next to the kid on the couch.
Exactly.
No nurse.
Yeah. So that to me was never really an excuse as to why it was so popular, because you can't sit there and tell me that My Little Pony has got, better adult humor involved in it and better adult-oriented themes. I don't mean adult in an inappropriate, sexual way. I just mean in general that would appeal to someone.
Something that a 20-year-old could sit and laugh at.
Exactly. You can't sit there with a straight face and tell me that My Little Pony has more of that material than a show created by a dude that did a short animated clip, of two kids that drop acid at a convenience store at 2 o'clock in the morning, like J.G. Quintel did. He's the guy that does regular show, and yes, he did a short animated series about two kids that drop fucking acid and turn into a gumball machine and a dolphin.
Hell yeah.
So...
we need more of that around.
Yeah. So that excuse to me is just not a valid one. I'm not saying that MLP is strictly little girl content as far as it's
well, see, that's the problem. For all intents and purposes, it is. At least the parts I've seen. I've seen about 5 episodes. I had several people trying to shove it down my throat, which that was what made me resist it for a long time. Because I was in the same boat, the fans just were constantly shoving it down my throat, and I'm a hipster in the way that if you try to shove something down my throat, it took me forever to get into Breaking Bad. Because of all the people, you've got to watch the show. Well, no, I don't fucking have to,
Yeah, I'm the same way.
And that same thing happened to me with MLP, so when I finally broke down and watched, 4 or 5 episodes, I was like, okay.
And that was it.
Yeah, exactly. It's a kid's show. I pretty much looked at the MLP art style and kind of what everyone was saying about it and everything, and I'm like, okay, it's a kid's show. I'm not going to like it because it's going to be aimed at little girls. It's going to have... it's going to have this, and this. And when I watched it, it contained this, and this, and therefore, okay, it's an alright show, not for me.
I was going to say, I think the biggest problem, and the reason we are spotlighting My Little Fucking Pony tonight, isn't so much the show itself. Unlike any other fandom on planet Earth, the MLP fandom seems to have an inordinate percentage of defective motherfuckers in it. That's not to say they all are. I have a couple friends who like the show or used to like the show.
As do I.
And they're pretty ordinary people. However, if you want to look at the ratio of ordinary people to completely batshit insane motherfuckers, the MLP fandom has pretty much everything beat from shit like Star Trek, Star Wars, furry, automobiles, all that stuff.
Sonic.
Even
Sonic.
They...
pretty bad.
No.
Yeah, no, MLP knocked the Sonic fandom off of their pedestal of fucked upness. I never thought I would see that in my life.
I didn't either, man. I realized how incredibly fucked up the Sonic fandom was, probably 3 months into my first time, 3 months into my presence online. Back in my freshman year when I made a DA account, it only took me 3 months to realize how incredibly fucked up the Sonic fandom was. And you guys know how inactive I was on the internet. So for something to come along, and in the span of probably 6 months or so, just completely knock that fucked up Sonic fandom off the face of the planet in terms of just how bad it can get, says something.
Yeah, the Bronies came in and they just streamlined the process, Everything that, it took furry fucking years to become the punching bag that we've turned it into today. MLP did it in 3 weeks.
Yeah. So
and we're gonna kind of focus on some of the most egregious, maybe not some of the most egregious shit that they've produced, but stuff that Josh can actually stomach for one. So, the first thing that I would kind of like to talk about, and this is going to be more of Crystal's area of expertise. There's a website that I'm sure everyone here is familiar with. It is called Tumblr.
Yep.
The Bronies have taken that shit over.
Wait, have they really?
Not really, but the Bronies, if you go on Tumblr, there are sections. There's a supernatural fandom, Doctor Who, and anime. The Bronies, however, have taken up a giant section, not only of their own, but also of what's known as the Ask section, where you make a character account and you ask them questions. And the Bronies have made entirely shitty accounts.
Chris, could you link us to some of the more scary ones that you found?
I narrowed it down to just 4. And this is the most prominent. This is the first Ask Pony Tumblr I found. And it is frightening. Just by the name alone, you should be able to get an idea.
Ask Princess Molestia.
Oh, God.
Okay, basically, I don't remember quite how it started, but somebody, I think, edited a picture, like made a fanfic and edited a picture of Princess Celestia, who's pretty much the god of MLP, more or less. She raises a son. And they made her pretty much use her horn to rape everybody. And so somebody thought this was a good idea to make this into a Tumblr account. And it's, as it says in there, let me read the description. Some call me Molestia, others call me Molly. I like to call myself Big Sexy. I shall allow some of my precious time to answer peasant questions each week. Worship my ass or be sent to the moon. And if you're really bored, you can also ask my nerdy gaming system Luna some questions. For mature audiences only.
Wow. I will say, I do like the little disclaimer. If you take this site seriously, you really do belong on the moon. It's kind of the same thing with brain death. If you take us seriously,
Something's wrong with you.
exile yourself.
If you take us incredibly seriously, don't exile yourself. Don't go to the moon. Put a plastic bag over your head, and then just keep it there until you go to sleep. I'm gonna piss. I'll be right back.
What kind of that, Josh?
So, basically, that Tumblr is the main character. Well, not the main character, but basically that Tumblr is God horn raping a bunch of people.
Well,
is
not
that
really. That is the character. That's not what she's doing. People are just basically asking, have you ever had a boyfriend? What's your relationship with your mother? Things like that. But she makes very sexual jokes, as you can. The icon is of her licking this melting ice cream pop, which we all know what that means. And basically, they make jokes like the one I remember the best. I like MLP because I'm a girl and it appeals to my girly side, and it does have some good qualities to it, in my opinion. But it also has some really stupid things that makes me wonder why I'm watching the show. But my favorite is Rarity, and there's this one comic where apparently she goes snooping, and it takes from the show and kind of ventures off into little side, what were you doing during this time? Rarity supposedly ran around the castle, and when she wasn't supposed to, she opened this door, and the next thing you know, she has what looks, it's never colored, none of this is, it's all grayscale, and she has what looks like water on her face, but then you see Celestia's ass in this doorway, And she said, if you don't do this and this, if you don't hold it, if you don't leave that on your face for the rest of the day, then I'm going to put you in the dungeons and you'll see what snoopers get. And then you see Twilight sniff her and be like, you went snooping around the castle, didn't you? And it's just like, what was the point of that? Why did we need to see Celestia's ass? And there is another one where apparently Rainbow Dash flew into
I would love to answer the question of why we need to see Celestia's ass. And that is because
going to
we never see her ass on here. You never see any explicit parts. You just see suggestive things.
Well, anyway. So, that's not as fucked up as some of the shit that I've seen, but,
No, not nearly.
give us one more and we're gonna move on.
Okay. Out of these, I think this one would be the best other one to show you. Just because of the art is so Sparkle Dog. It's ridiculous.
Holy shit, what the
God.
fuck?
Oh my goodness, my eyes.
Oh, the background just loaded in.
Oh, Jesus. Oh my god, what?
I'm medical attention. I'm technically not a nurse, but I'd be happy to chop you up anyway. I get sick when non-pony pays attention to me. So I figured best way to stay healthy is to start my own blog. What?
Huh.
That's an
Warning, this blog may include blood from time to time if you couldn't guess from the background. Nah, I'm kind of blinded by the neon...
Oh, dear God. They're... One of the people they follow is Crooked Trees.
What?
Really?
Oh,
Gosh.
no. I believe we need to address this sick motherfucker right now.
Okay, because I don't know who... I've heard very little about him.
This medical attention thing is just absolutely, it's a scene fag that did this. It's gotta be, this person listens to Asking Alexandria, Blood on the Dance Floor, and Black Veil Brides. I can guarantee it.
I really wish there was still a day where Asking Alexandria wasn't listed with those other two bands, but I'm sorry, but that day is gone.
Yes.
Way gone.
Okay, so, Crooked Trees. I was gonna bring him up at some point, but this
Him?
just kinda... Yes. Crooked Trees is a person. The best thing I can do, because he's been removed from Tumblr, which should tell you something.
Yeah, Tumblr's pretty much uncensored, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's full-on, like, gay porn Tumblrs.
Oh.
Yeah. So for this motherfucker to get kicked off of Tumblr, literally the only place I can send you to get a scope of how fucked up in the brain this guy is, I'm gonna have to send you to E621.
I don't know what that is.
Oh, Josh.
You don't want to know.
God damn it, Josh.
You're such an internet virgin.
I don't know
you're
what it is
virgin.
either, so it's okay, Josh. I don't know what it is either.
Oh, y'all's virgin eyes.
You see, I like believing in a god, so I don't go to these places.
Give it 3 more episodes.
3 more episodes and I'll just be dead. Not by my own hand, mind you. Oh, look, a Bad Dragon ad.
What am I looking at?
I was going to ask the same thing.
You're looking at the art of Crooked Trees. I never got into Tumblr. To this day, I don't have one. So, really, the only stuff I really know about the guy is from various little research things I've done and what I've heard and seen throughout just everything that I have been through. The biggest thing that I have noticed, okay, Crooked Trees is an artist.
No.
No, he's not.
No, Ed. No.
He's not.
He is an individual.
To call him an artist is to put him in the same group as me and Josh, and I don't think that's correct.
Yeah, I'm with Kat on this one.
Take out their own eyes and stomp on them with their claws.
Well, you do have to admit he has some artistic talent.
That's the thing that's killing me.
Just the topic.
He's got enough technical skill to where when he creates these compositions, they get terrifying.
That is a fantastic way to put it.
To the nth fucking degree. I remember the first image I ever saw of his, and sadly it is not on here, so I can link to it. It was one of the little...
Second page.
Yes, I know. There was one of the little Cutie Mark Crusaders. I forget which one it was. Basically, it's a really dark background. This young, underage pony looking up with a dick in its mouth. And just the look of sheer misery on the face of this little pony. Just like you could... It was almost like you could see the soul of this pony in its eyes. Like the way he had drawn it. And...
Is it this?
No, it is not that one. It was the pink pony, I think. But, like, they had obviously been battered and abused, and it was, quite honestly, one of the most disturbing things I've ever seen in my time in the fandom.
Everything on this has got to be one of the most disturbing things I've ever seen in the entire fandom.
Oh god,
Like,
how many things did it pull up? Like
131.
So that is 131 of the most disturbing things you've seen on the internet.
I mean, that are not all of them. I mean, these are just the ones that are on E621. I think
Yeah, like this isn't even all the shit that he's done either. This is just the furry shit, the pony fap material. It disturbs me even more that people have masturbated to this stuff.
Forgive me if I'm just dead silent throughout this part, because this is just baffling. I didn't think it was going to get a whole lot worse than that fucking Sonic RP thing. Or not RP, what was it, dating sim.
Yeah, that Sonic dating sim? No, my friend. At one point, Crooked Trees actually admitted, in a very roundabout way, mind you, that he would like to fuck children. I wish I could find the actual Tumblr post that he made where he said this, but it was a big, long post about, how childhood, the point of childhood is to destroy innocence.
What?
Okay.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Okay, even this guy's quote-unquote normal stuff. Like, this would be normal furry material, and yet it's still somehow really fucking creepy. Like, I just can't like that.
How fucked up does someone have to be in the head to make a picture of a cat girl sitting with their legs spread look creepy as fuck? Like, to the point where I don't even
An ordinary straight fur fag is just creeped out by it.
Yeah, I don't even think Sybil could fap to this.
You so sure about that? No.
Challenge accepted.
Just mute your mic, bro.
Alright, going back to what I said about being able to see, like, the souls in their eyes, this is a great example of that. It is from a series of images that different people have drawn. A series called Scoot Abuse, which is another really disturbing thing that the MLP fandom has produced. I will touch on Scoot Abuse here in a minute, because that is just really mentally fucked up bullshit. But do you see what I'm talking about? Yeah.
Yes. And based on that really, really brief description of Scoot Abuse, this is already starting to look like some pretty wicked fucked up shit.
Basically, there's a character in the show called Scootaloo. She is the tomboy of the group, very similar to Rainbow Dash. And at one point during the first season, someone asked Lauren Faust if Scootaloo and Rainbow Dash were sisters. In Lauren Faust's remarkable history of acting before thinking, she replied to that person with, no, Rainbow Dash would be a horrible sister. Therefore, they could never be related. What the Bronies did was they took that one little phrase, Rainbow Dash would be a horrible sister.
Oh, God.
And someone drew a picture of Scootaloo laying on the ground, just completely beaten, bruised, bloody, and Rainbow Dash flying over her, just cussing her out, saying, I don't have fucking time for this shit, you're a useless piece of shit. The rest of the Brony fandom took that and ran with it.
God.
You know what the best part is? Scootaloo is an orphan. She apparently lives all alone in the treehouse that they made for the Cutie Mark Crusaders. Like, it's been confirmed by Lauren that she has no family. But they don't explain where she lives or anything. So people assume she lives in the treehouse they made for them. But yeah, she's an orphan.
So they took the orphan character and just ruined her life even more.
Pretty much.
That's so fucked up. Like, so what is she, just like the victim of sibling abuse from?
She is the victim of all sorts of abuse.
They call her a chicken because Lauren Faust has confirmed that she cannot fly.
Also,
she will never be able to fly. Yeah, she's a Pegasus, and she will never be able to fly because her wings are too small. And they won't grow.
Therefore, she gets everywhere on a scooter, so.
Hence her name.
Maybe Lauren Faust has some issues, too? Just based off that.
She made the brilliant move of drawing herself as an alicorn and putting that on the internet. That turned out to be a bad idea because, once again, the Bronies took that and ran with it.
Making fun of it.
But in that case, I don't think you can blame the Bronies because it's just the nature of the internet. It ruined everything.
Oh no, I can totally blame the Bronies. That would be like
God.
That would be like someone saying, "Hey, J.K. Rowling, what sort of character would you be in the Harry Potter universe?" And herself going, "Well, if I wasn't a mudblood and I was at Hogwarts, I would be this teacher." And then everyone in the fucking Harry Potter fandom going, "Guess what? I just wrote a fanfic where Hermione and J.K. Rowling's character are lesbians."
That is exactly what happened.
Exactly.
And it's just like, where's the respect for JK in that situation? Subsequently, where's the respect for fucking Faust? I don't get it. It's just and that wouldn't have happened if, I guarantee you, if J.K. Rowling if that situation had played out, there most likely would be an incredible, if there were any at all, like, fanfics that involved her character being sexual, especially in a really creepy way, there would be hardly any, and there wouldn't be enough that it would be wide enough known by people outside the Harry Potter fandom, like it is in the case with Lauren Faust's character and the MLP fandom, because I'm not a brony, Ed's not a brony, Sybil's not a brony. And yet we're still perfectly aware of it.
Aware of this shit.
Exactly.
Because it gets shoved in our faces, pretty much. And I will say, Wacky, you bring up a good point. He says, I think like many things, it's not that the brony community is guilty of these sort of things. It's that small group of individuals who are more fucked up than others. Bronies have them. The furries have them. God knows the furries have them.
The problem with the bronies, though, is that it's the ratio, I think, and just the vocalness. Like, you sent me a link, Ed. You didn't send me a link. You told me to YouTube brony class presentations. I don't know if we're going to be covering that tonight, but
not really. But we'll anyway. Speak your piece, and that'll be it.
Essentially, these are normal school presentations about where anyone else would do something, about economics or the rise and fall of some sort of regime, be it the Soviet Union, some sort of African dictatorship, something in the Middle East, or maybe just American history, something like that. You could do it on anything. And some people felt compelled. And not just some people, there's a shit ton of these videos. There is a literal shit ton. I made it through like 3 and I hadn't even scratched the surface, and I decided I wasn't going to scratch the surface. And they're kind of creepy. And the thing is, I was sitting there thinking about that, and I'm like, what's the next most fucked up fandom I can think of besides Sonic? Furry! Okay, wait. When's the last time I ever saw someone do a presentation or thought about doing a presentation myself on anything related to furry or anthro stuff? Oh, that's right, never. When was the last time I even heard of someone doing a presentation on furry in general? Never.
I should do it, Josh. Hipster here.
And then the thing is, I'm pretty sure that you have a shit ton of videos, a million fucking videos on YouTube of people in class, in school, high school, and college giving presentations to their classmates about MLP and their fascination with it, and you don't have jack shit of that with furries. And furry is a pretty fucked up fandom, as we've already illustrated, sadly enough.
And we'll
so that speaks volumes. So that speaks volumes in my eyes.
I've read a couple of journals where people have done presentations on furry, where they actually explained what they were going to do and what they were going to present.
And those people, much like the bronies, committed social suicide.
And I unwatched them.
Oh gosh.
And those people are the perfect recipient of my personal quote at FA, which states that somewhere in North America there is a lake bottom with your name on it. They need to be at that lake bottom.
So, Wacky brought up the guy.
Oh God.
He said, which spreads faster? The guy who watches the show and puts a patch on his backpack, or the dude who marries Twilight Sparkle? What he's referring to is something I like to call the Kevin Sano incident. Basically, this guy, I'm not sure what his name is. I don't particularly care. But he sent a letter to an artist named Kevin Sano. From what I gather, this porn artist, he's fairly popular, and he has a bunch of artist friends who like to draw Kevin his pony sona, I guess. Is that what you call them, pony sonas?
Yeah.
Wacky.
They like to draw this dude's pony sona fucking... It appears that he's literally, like, just getting Twilight Sparkle drawn for him. Like, as a birthday gift.
Sexually.
Yes, sexually
Naturally.
explicit pictures of this guy's pony sona and Twilight Sparkle. This causes another guy in the another Brony to send him a very balls long message. And it starts off. The thing that makes this particular message so creepy is that, one, it's not intended to be creepy.
Exactly. Fucking exactly.
Two, this guy actively tries, like, he's aware of how creepy it sounds to begin with, and he tries to downplay it.
So basically, what this means is that this guy is not mentally retarded. He is not at some sort of mental...
That's debatable.
No, he's not at some type of clinical mental disability. He is not autistic. He does not have, like, cerebral palsy. He does not have something like that wrong with him that he can't help that would excuse this behavior. Because those types of things, to some extent, do, in my opinion. No, this guy is a clinically 100% quote-unquote normal human being. However, his behavior is not.
What the fuck was that?
That was me doing the aliens hand gesture and tilting my head very far back from the screen. That's what that was.
Just already getting a brain tumor from all the shit we are showing to him.
What are you talking about? My brain is a tumor.
Fair enough.
I think my favorite part is the first sentence in the last paragraph. That's the best.
Well, and we'll get to that. The first sentence is kind of what, it kind of sets the tone for this whole thing. I'm not going to read the entire letter, because that would take too long. I will, however, read just highlights. But as I said, the first sentence, the first paragraph, really kind of sets the tone for the whole thing. Dear Kevin Sano, this may be the strangest message you'll ever receive, but I do hope you'll take the time to read it and consider what I have to say. To put it simply, I would really appreciate it if the next time your birthday comes around, you would request that your clop artist friends, who like to give you sexually oriented pony art as gifts, draw some other pony than Twilight Sparkle for you. Here is why he wants this. The reason I ask this is that Twilight is my fiancée, and we're planning on getting married next June or July should everything go as planned financially speaking.
That. Just.
I want to know where this wedding chapel he found is.
Yes, he actually has a section in here. It says, and yes, I have actually found a wedding chapel that will let me marry someone that most people would consider a fictional character.
End quote. That's the part.
That is kind of the part that just makes this whole thing creepy. He is aware of how this looks, and yet he still does it.
I think by wedding chapel, what he meant was drugged up hobo at the back of Kroger, and the chapel was probably an arrangement of those, those wooden 2x4 pallets that they use to lift crates and stuff like that. Yeah, for forklifts. It was just an arrangement of those in a small box that you kind of have to huddle into. And then this drugged up fucking hobo, just out of his mind on heroin, just pulled out a Bible that doesn't even have any pages left in it and did the ceremony. It was fucking, I don't even know. Sang some band camp song from when he was still 12 and considered him married.
Oh, God. Yeah, either that or he's going to do it in international waters because, everything goes there.
Yeah, whaling.
Very shit.
You can fuck a whale in international waters and you're okay.
Yeah. Well, apparently this guy can, he goes on to say, you see, I'm totally head over heels in love with Twilight Sparkle. I have been for about 11 months now, and at this point, I'm in a committed relationship with my Twilight. By that, I mean I don't date anyone else, I don't sleep with anyone else, and I have zero interest in having any kind of relationship with anyone other than the mare I adore.
Hey! He doesn't get to reproduce!
I wouldn't count on that.
He goes on to say that he had a handmade custom Twilight Sparkle plushie that he can hug, kiss, cuddle up in bed to go to sleep with at night, and take out on the town.
And probably fuck it. That probably goes without saying.
Well, I'll tell you what, out of all the pictures we've seen of this thing, I've never seen a picture of the back end of it. So
I've never seen any sexual pictures of it. I think this guy is like, when he describes why he is upset by this guy drawing porn and why Twilight herself, it is Twilight, correct?
Yes.
Why Twilight herself, because apparently he can speak with Twilight, is upset by the porn because, that's just not her thing. He has this very pious type of
better than now
disposition. So I don't think he really, well, at least he hasn't actually taken photos of any sort of sexual things he's done with it. And I think, it's almost sad that he hasn't, because at this point all that suggests to me is that he has some kind of incredible respect for this fictional character, so much so that he can't even bring himself to fulfill these fucked up sexual desires he has. It's almost creepier in my mind that he hasn't.
Well, okay, now here's Kevin Sano, I don't know the guy, don't watch him, don't give a fuck about him. He put this on his Facebook, he linked people to where they can read this. The guy who originally wrote it came in and defended himself.
Oh yeah, that.
And at one point during his backlash to this, he says, it's really unfortunate that someone decided to send this to Tara Strong, as she has almost no connection to Twilight Sparkle whatsoever as far as he's concerned. Tara Strong voices Twilight. She emits the personality of this pony in the show. Chris, you watch a lot of anime. When they do, the English dubs and everything, a good dub is someone who can just absolutely bring out the personality of the character, correct?
Exactly. They can portray, they're not just sitting there in a monotone, they're actually putting thought, and as you say, they're actually putting emotion, and they make you believe that this character is a character. There's somebody that you feel for, and a good actor can bring that out, regardless of what the character is.
So it gets really confusing when this guy says, to me, she's just a voice actor who can make her voice sound like my partner's, and there is really no connection past that.
See, that part about gave me a tumor. Like, I read that part, and then I went back, and I read it again. And I sat there, and I took a couple sips of my soda, and then I went back, and I read it a third time. And the third time I went back, I was like, yep, that is actually what he said. And then I stood up, I closed my laptop, and I turned on my Xbox and started killing things on Skyrim.
To me, I want you to listen to me read this. And just think about it. To me, she's just a voice actor who can make her voice sound like my partner's. So, I'm wondering, how, no.
The way it sounds like he thinks of her almost as the way it looks like a celebrity who was put in an animation, somebody else is that celebrity's voice.
Yeah,
That's a good way of putting it, yeah.
Like, she's a real person that's been put in a show, and Tara is just some person that voices her.
Yeah, that's how I'm going to stop saying yeah now.
So, my favorite part of this whole thing, he goes, but from the outside, this is going back to the original letter, but from the outside perspective of someone who doesn't know me, you're probably going, wow, that's pretty damn crazy, and wondering why I don't just go get a real girlfriend. The truth is, I've had plenty of real relationships and sexual partners in the 27 years I've been around. This motherfucker is 27 years old and is in a relationship with a plush doll.
You're sounding jealous there, Ed.
No, I have an actual girlfriend who will get my actual dick actually wet. Going on, a few short relationships, one that lasted 7 years, and a total of 6 different sexual partners. So my love for Twilight isn't out of a lack of real-world intimacy or relationships. I just fell in love with her, and my heart didn't give me much choice in the matter. Basically, what this guy is saying is that I have human interaction, and yet I still choose to get my rocks off over a fictional character.
Pretty much. That sums it up.
This man, in writing this letter, has basically demolished every single defense he could have possibly used to get out of this. All that's left now is this motherfucker is crazy. I really can't think any other way to describe him.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, you guys can't see that. You guys can't hear this right now, but there's some comments in the Skype combo right now that are making me shit.
So, next year, when your birthday comes around, keep in mind that Twilight Sparkle isn't just a lifeless cartoon character to objectified. There's no B in there. To objectified for your sexual gratification. She's the partner of someone who loves her very much, and by that time, their wife. So both myself and Twily would greatly appreciate it if you'd pick someone else to request erotic art of for your birthday.
Because he is legally bound to this pony in holy matrimony. Well, praise be to the Lord. Like, I
think that if I had gotten this letter, I would literally, my reaction would have to be, okay, why doesn't Twilight Sparkle send me an email herself and tell me all this?
That's a very good question.
Maybe
she will one day.
Maybe she will. Maybe she will.
See, you're better than me, because my response would have been to tap into my tax return and buy as much fucked up, twisted porn as I could possibly think of. Shit I would never even look at. Commission it, and then just send it all to him in one big email. And just at the bottom of it, just write, "Do you still believe in God?"
You're welcome. Signed, a friend.
Ah, that's beautiful. So, I'm leaving this alone. I'm done with this. Moving on, you brought up fan fictions when we were talking about...
And I wish I hadn't.
You brought up fan fictions and you fucked up. There's so many you can talk about. But by far the most egregious one is a wonderful little ditty by the name of Fallout Equestria.
Oh, God.
Yeah! Chris?
You want me to... Oh, God. This fucking story... First of all, let me state that this is longer than War and Peace.
Yeah, War and Peace is
that.
What, 590,000 words?
Yeah, around that.
Yeah, I think this one at last count was like 620,000? Yeah.
This is basically a crossover between My Little Pony and Fallout, the game. But it's not with the main characters. This is actually really, really bad original characters. Really, really cliche storyline and lesbian love.
It's not well executed. I'm sorry, Wacky, it's not. It's... The parts I have read, like, they make sense in the way that one sentence leads into another. Like, if you put the words and sentences in order, they make sense. Overall, there's not much of a story there other than, you know, this weird little pony named Little Pip just walks around the Fallout Wasteland. And has magical adventures with this other pony whose pussy she would like to lick.
That's... So it's a lesbian thing then, right? It's not even...
Well,
Doesn't she get another lesbian lover? Like, the first one she has a crush on does not love her back and never gets with her, but the second one, like, they do it, apparently.
Yeah, there's like a lot of fade to black sex scenes, I guess. Oh my god, realistically, we could probably do like a full episode just on this goddamn
Fallout Equestria.
Big set. Yeah, just on Fallout Equestria itself. And we may do that at some point.
No.
One episode about MLP itself is enough, because if Fallout Equestria isn't the last section, then I'm going to have a seizure.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have one more for you, but, like I said, there's no story here. It's 620,000 words, 45 chapters of them just wandering and picking people up, and people dying, and pipes shoved up asses, and
what?
Turning into trees.
What?
Did you just say ponies turning into trees?
Because that's what it sounded like you fucking said.
It sounded like you said ponies turning into trees.
Is that not what he said?
There is a bit where Fluttershy is a tree.
I'd like to be a tree.
The fuck? I mean, I fucking love Fallout. I mean, it was one of the first games I ever played, I think, but not in that form.
Oh my gosh.
Stick to Skyrim, Civil.
I've got probably 400 hours in Fallout, but I've never heard of someone turning into a tree. Ever.
Apparently, it's a spin-off of Poison Joke, which is, I guess, from the MLP series.
Yeah.
And I don't know. But apparently Fluttershy, the shy, demure,
Demure.
yeah. Shut up, Josh, you fucking one-string wonder band faggot.
I'm gonna crank some degent if you don't shut up, motherfucker.
There's a quote in the first season where Fluttershy goes, "I'd like to be a tree." And that's probably where they got that idea from.
Yeah, that's probably where they got the idea from. But this, apparently, Fluttershy, the yay character, created nukes. Which, I've only seen like 4 episodes of the show, but even I know that Fluttershy is a Pegasus,
Yes.
not a unicorn. Unicorns are the only ones who create magic, which is what the nukes in Fallout Equestria are. So, I'm not exactly sure how the fuck that's supposed to work.
Because who gives a fuck about logic? Ponies!
Yeah.
Drop the bass.
Yeah, that... Wacky would like to inform us that it was her ministry who made them. She was essentially in charge of the project. Okay, so I guess that makes a little bit more sense. The premise of the war that created the Fallout universe, Fallout Equestria universe, was basically ponies hate zebras, which in the actual MLP show, zebras are black people.
From Africa.
Well, in that case, who can blame the ponies?
Not even lying. In the MLP show, the actual show Lauren Faust created, the zebra is a black person who speaks in rhyme and wears like the neck rings like you would see in National Geographic bullshit. And she creates potions and uses voodoo. That is the only pony in the whole series who is obviously black. And that is how they portray her.
So, in that sense...
Racial tolerance.
But in that regard, that short comic I did that involved the MLP characters is then not that inaccurate. If only I had made them zebras.
Exactly.
Instead of brown ponies.
Exactly. If they had been zebras, you would have created a canon comic. So
that's actually horrifying. I'm really glad I threw General Grievous into it now. That way that prevents it from being... fuck.
So, going back to the Fallout Equestria, the hatred of the zebras is what caused the war in the first place. And At one point during the story, someone actually yells, "Better wiped than striped." So, they not only fail at racism, they fail at history as well. So, from everything I have seen on Fallout Equestria, it has its own wiki, by the way. It's like goddamn, what the hell is that wiki called?
The one where you can make a wiki for pretty much any type of fandom. Like, there's a fur.
Yeah, but there's a wiki specifically created for Fallout Equestria.
That blows my mind. I could understand a wiki existing for the MLP fandom in general. That would make sense to me. I wouldn't be surprised by that. I would expect it. But a wiki exclusively for... That would be like a wiki made exclusively for Dark Natasha or Golden Wolf.
Well, okay, here's the thing though. Fallout Equestria has gotten so popular within the MLP fandom that fandoms have formed around this fan fiction. And people have written fan fictions of this fan fiction.
And fan characters and...
Yeah, it's created... people have drawn fan art. People have written music about this. Bullshit.
See, the problem with this sort of cycle, same problem one of the artists I watched pointed out about the furry fandom itself, in fact. And this is true to a certain extent about the furry fandom, but in this particular case, it is so true that this case is the perfect example of it. This type of thing, this type of quote-unquote art is incestial. It breeds with itself and creates a horrendous goat fuck.
Yeah, it's basically...
You can see some of that happen with furry. Alright, to be fair, most people draw their anthros almost the exact same way. It has become almost formulaic because they have so many examples of other artists to copy, who have had other examples of other artists to copy, etc. It's a vicious cycle.
I mean, how many people have you seen that, like, outright use Wolfie Nail style, so to speak, you know?
Yeah, but... And that's a problem in the furry fandom, and I'm sure we'll address it at some point in one of these podcasts, or I will, because I'm a butthurt, angry artist person. But in this particular situation, it applies so much better, because you just have two random fucking crossovers develop into its own following, into its own fandom, and it just becomes incestial as fuck. Like,
And I get what you're saying, because, like, as far as art goes, there's only one style you can do this shit in.
Yeah.
You can only do it in the original My Little Pony Friendship is Magic art style. Otherwise, it loses a lot of its punch, so to speak. It loses its appeal.
No, you could do it in that one style that we saw earlier from what's his face, Medical Attention.
Oh dear God, don't.
Yeah, you could do it in that style.
That would also make you want to bleach your eyes. Eye bleach.
It does become very incestuous as far as the art styles and, you know, just everything that's created, because there's so little to draw from. But I don't know if there's that much more that we can say about it that isn't, you know, just going over the same shit. So we're gonna leave that alone. I have one last thing that I have to show you, Josh. This is quite possibly the most fucked up thing I've ever seen a fandom produce.
That has got to be that.
The My Little Pony fandom has produced a thing called fluffy ponies.
Oh God.
Did you link it yet?
Who here knows what fluffy ponies and what the basic premise of this is?
I do.
Sadly, I don't want to.
So, you haven't been very vocal. What has your experience with fluffy ponies been?
Well, for one thing, I think they, like most stuff, it originated from 4chan, I think, because they were somehow a dumb joke on the whole pony thing. Because basically they are, I think, dumbed down versions of the ponies, and they're just like giant fluff balls. And I think the most popular version is a pink one, a giant pink fluff ball that is somehow mentally disturbed, I don't know, or they are less a breed or something like that. And I think the joke originally was that they're so dumb and they get killed in every way imaginable, every brutal way. And somehow that changed, and some people really like them. I think they are also Ask Tumblrs for one of them, and they're just pretty stupid.
Chris?
So it's basically like, I just realized you could compare it to Happy Tree Friends, because essentially it actually started out as just fluffy ponies who have the mentality of a 5-year-old and speak like a 5-year-old, like a toddler, with, the little baby talk, the I want to go outside, that.
Yeah, they're very obviously supposed to be adults.
Yeah, and they're fluffy, of course, if you couldn't tell from the name. And people, it started out just as a cute thing, but there was this one Tumblr that took it to the extreme, and I don't remember the name, but they basically took...
It was like Mad Fluffy?
Yes,
Fluffy?
that was. And they took fluffy ponies and just did all sorts of horrible things to them, and all sorts of horrible things. And that's how that got started, so...
Might be a good idea to link you to that now. There we go.
This is the first thing I see. I fucking clicked that link, and this is the first thing I see.
Whatever, the pony hate fluffy penis. They can make you eat them even more, faggots.
Yes.
I want to get that picture of a dick off my screen right now because I never want to see that again.
What I've seen of fluffy ponies, they are adult ponies. They are fluff balls. They are mentally retarded to the point of a 5-year-old. And the most popular thing to do with them is to just outright torture and abuse these things.
What?
Yeah, let me link you to this, Josh, but they've got some of the most fucked up shit. A lot of the art is like the pony begging and pleading for, mercy, while they are killed and maimed in like some of the most creative, quote unquote creative ways I have ever seen. I thought I was pretty desensitized to a lot of the shit. Like, I could go on Encyclopedia Dramatica's offended page and scroll through there and be like, oh, so yeah, that's a thing.
I still can't do that. It doesn't matter how much of this shit I see, I cannot do that.
The fluffy pony torture shit bugs me more than that does.
Really?
Yeah. A lot of it, I think, is because they intentionally provoke that empathy thing, where the fluffy ponies are pleading for mercy. And that's literally what the whole thing is about, it looks like. I sent you that link. Just kind of thumb through some of that shit.
I am.
And it's...
And this is meant for people to get off to, essentially.
I don't know if they're meant to masturbate to it, but they are meant to enjoy it. Like, they've got one here where they have decapitated a female and put its head on a stick, and apparently its two children are, like, asking it for food.
Oh my god, what?
Yeah.
And this
It's
fucked up shit.
What?
Yeah, like, if you... Oh my... Yeah, there we go. This is going to be the only one I link you to, Josh. So just bear in mind, once this is over, you don't have to look at it anymore.
Oh, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
My body is ready.
No, it's not. So.
Chaotic laughter.
Oh my god, I'm reading the comments on that one you linked me, and I'm just regretting.
Yeah, there are people. Oh my god.
Yeah,
They are supporting this.
Are you seeing these fucking comments?
Yes. They're talking about how to turn it into a GIF to make it funnier. Basically, what the comic I linked to is, it's got a little fluffy foal. Finger reaches out and touches them and tickles them, I guess. Up and at 'em, little guy. I've got a surprise for you this morning. I made you spaghetti this morning because you're such a good Fluffy. The little Fluffy goes, Baby loves sketties.
And then just suddenly, stop!
What? Hammer time! And it proceeds, this little pony is pissing itself, running through the house, while the dude is chasing it with a hammer, and of course, this little horse is pleading for its life. No! No heart! No heart, please, no!
Now, it hasn't just pissed itself, it's shit itself too.
Ah, yes, it has shit itself as well. And, these people, these sick motherfuckers, are talking about how to turn it into a GIF to make it funnier.
There's not much more to say beyond that. Because I'm going through these comments and I just don't want to quote them. I
really don't. No, it's...
In all honesty, I would literally rather quote Frankie Palmieri's rant about married people than this. Because it is sadly less fucked up. Although, I like Anonymous Number 8's response towards the bottom of the comments.
No, I already closed.
Are you talking about that face? It's all of us right now.
Yeah. That rage comment. Yeah. No, no.
That sums things up perfectly.
So, we have spent the last hour and a half or so bashing on the bronies. And we think that in the effort to be fair, our artist, we are going to have an artist spotlight this episode, even though we aren't doing the front page fun. We will do the artist spotlight. We are going to highlight an artist. I'm not going to lie, she's a really good friend of mine, and she's a friend of the rest of the Brain Death cast as well.
Except Civil.
Her name is Cynthia. She is a Brony. She has attended Brony meetups. She does pony art. But she's one of the pony fans that is normal. She is living proof that you can be deep into MLP and still maintain a pretty normal lifestyle. Her art is actually really cute. She's got, she's one of the few artists I've seen go from, more serious art to the more cartoony. She actually spans several different styles, which not a lot of furry artists I've seen do. Even some of the best known ones, they have their one style and that's all they do, all they do, all they do.
I do. I just copy other people's.
But she does like 90s cartoon style. She does modern cartoony. She does the chibi. She does a bunch of different little things. She makes some amazing badges, I will say.
That she does.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, have you got that voodoo badge yet?
Yeah, her badges are awesome. I'm actually getting one from her. She's working on it right now.
The voodoo one?
Yeah, the voodoo badge. That's going to be awesome when she gets it done. She's definitely one of the more professional furry artists that I've worked with. She's pretty easy to work with. I haven't ever had any complaints out of her business practices. Josh, you've seen her art. What, as an artist, what do you have to say?
Honestly, the thing that... I've never commissioned her, so I've never worked with her before professionally. Out of all the qualities of her art that floor me the most, it has got to be hands down the line art. I have not come across very many artists that can put down line art as anatomically correct and as quickly as she can. It makes me jealous, I'll be quite honest. Every time I go to one of her streams and she starts working on a new character and she just whips something up and I'm just looking at it like, you did that and let me look at my clock. That was 10 minutes? Yeah, that would have taken me like 4 hours. Fuck you.
Yeah, no, she does really good work and, she's a good person, so she just happens to be a Brony.
She's not a Brony, she's an MLP fan because she has a vagina.
There you go. So
she does.
So that about wraps up this podcast. From all of us here at Brain Death, as well as our guest, Crystal Cat.
And Wacky. And Rick.
Wacky and 10 Point, who were here listening in. We would like to bid you a fond farewell, and until next time, please stay safe out there in the fucked up world of furry.
It's like